are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And week one is in the books. With a profit.
Thankfully. Yeah, no kidding. $11.60 profit. Woo! Could have been a lot better.
Well,
fucking Vikings.
Yeah, we will get to that. So we'd mentioned we were going to talk a little bit about Hard Knocks, but we didn't get around to watching it. It was a busy week, as it turned out.
Too much football to watch.
Yeah,
over
football,
the weekend.
A social life. Yeah, I know it sounds odd, but we actually have them. So what we're going to do, I think, is we're just going to go through, tell our picks, where we went terribly wrong and where we were right, and sort of let it flow. How does that sound, Boyd?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. The season opener was New England favored by 7 points over the Pittsburgh Steelers, or parts of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, you were texting FU mode, fucking whatever. If Pittsburgh had talent players, they just mopped them. But you forget all the opportunities New England let slide too in that game.
Yeah, I mean, New England's still good, Boyd. I mean, my texts were done in anger at that stage, but giving up that bullshit backdoor cover Pyrrhic victory touchdown at the end.
Yeah, but that happens every year.
Oh, I know. But it happened in this game.
Well, yeah, but when you're up 14, you don't give a shit. Let them waste clock, score. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's what
they
makes
score
the
with
higher
like 3
spread
seconds
so
left?
Brutal. 3 or 2. It was under 5, put it that way. New England prevailed 28-21. Pittsburgh seemed to have forgotten that Gronkowski existed. And this had nothing to do with their suspensions and lack of players. That Pittsburgh defense is not good.
No.
They looked frightened, confused, and if this were a regular Thursday game during the season, I could hear an argument that, New England game planned them on the short week, put in confusing things. But they've had a year, most of a year, to prepare for New England, and that defense didn't look like they knew what they were doing, period.
Well, and the thing that bugged me is then the headphone thing, the communication system, which isn't even run by the team, which is run by the league. Then that was a problem. That's why they lost. Or the defensive shift, which has been going on for the fucking Cowboys in the 70s and 80s used to do it under the fucking Landry. Shift their whole defensive line. It's not illegal, folks.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Well, it's not. But then the Big Ben's like, it's an unwritten rule. Fuck
there are
off.
no unwritten rules except for using a salary cap when there supposedly is no salary cap. That's the only unwritten rule anyone's been punished for in the NFL.
Well, no, but the Steelers just, the sour grade, make plays.
Yeah.
Make plays. If you don't want them doing it, don't let it affect you. Fucking beat them when they're using that shit. Make a play. We're going to hear this about New England every time.
Oh,
now.
I know, and it warms my heart. I know it pisses you off, but I just like to see that stink stuck to them.
For what, though? They did nothing wrong. In the Deflategate, they did nothing wrong. Nothing.
No, that's
that no
incorrect.
team has done before. Nothing wrong. Fuck me. And it drives me, beat them. You hear the Giants whining about anything? Did they spy on the Giants? Must have done a bad job.
Well, that's possible.
It's been going on for 7 years. Oh, fuck.
7 years.
How'd the Giants do it?
It's been
How'd
going
the Giants
on for 16, I think, by most counts.
Fuck. how'd the Giants beat them? Fuck, shouldn't they be 188-0? Like, come on, make a fucking play. Shut the fuck up. Every team's looking for a fucking edge. Give me a fucking break.
I can't disagree with you. It's just fun to wind you up. Okay, so with the late touchdown, this game became a push. So neither of us got it right.
And we both had the Patriots, did we not?
Yes, we both had the Patriots. Yeah. The next game up, Carolina versus Jacksonville. Carolina won 20-9. They were favored by 3 points. Yeah, that's one for Boyd. Though that really wasn't the most overwhelming victory.
No,
Carolina did enough to win, and credit to them. Bortles,
yeah, but
from what I saw, which was very little, didn't look like he's gotten any better. Newton is still the best athlete on the field for both teams.
Yes, but you seem to forget why we bet on them to win the division. We bet on them because they had the best. We figured they had the best defense in the division.
That's true, and
that's what won them the game.
Part of the reason too, then, was we thought they had a wide receiving core.
Yeah,
which has gone away, and I think I overreacted.
Well, especially against fucking Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised you went that way. Just because Jacksonville's Jacksonville. What did they really do to improve, to be better, 3 points better than, or basically 6 points when you count the home field advantage, 3. But
during preparation for fantasy, I talked myself into Yeldon.
And he's going to be good. But there's still too many holes. Especially on the offensive side of the ball. Like, Jacksonville's 5 years away still. When you whiff on Gabbert and Bortles, you're fucked for 10 years. Now you got to wait. Now you got to suffer for that long. Believe me,
and I'm
I know
about
what it's
ready
like.
to say that they have whiffed on Bortles. And he was a reach, too. Didn't watch much of this game because it's Carolina, Jacksonville. He didn't look good at all. So
no, I saw the pick 6 he threw. That was a great pass. But, oh well.
Not a scintillating game. Next up, this was a terrible one. Thank God we didn't bet it. We had both taken Cleveland +3 versus the Jets. Now, McCown went down on a very McCown-like play, trying to stretch for a touchdown, which he didn't get and fumbled the ball anyway. Then took a concussion, which the latest I've heard is he still hasn't been cleared, and they do not anticipate he will be cleared before this week's games.
And if you look at the score, it was 14-10 at the half. It wasn't terrible. We were still in it. And then you get Johnny Football taking over. There's another. Okay. Browns fans.
Isn't this my usual role?
No, but they had... Oh, who the fuck did they take? That Notre Dame quarterback stiff.
Brady
that they
Quinn?
traded up for. Yeah, they traded up for to get like 20-something in the draft the one year. He was a bust. That's a number 1 first-round pick you blew. Then you take Johnny Manziel in the top 10. Another fucking dud. You're 10 years old. That's fucking... You're 5-6 years away still from even being competitive.
Hoyer may have been the best quarterback who's wandered through that team in recent
Yeah,
memory.
and he got fucking benched in Houston. So
Yeah.
what's that saying?
I know. But yeah, that was a disaster. Manziel threw one good touchdown and then fumbled on 3 successive plays, losing 2 of them. And it wasn't even as pretty as that picture sounds.
And they couldn't stop the run. Chris Ivory had like 100,000 fucking yards.
No, and that was part of the reason we both took Cleveland. We thought that defense was very good. I don't know how you regress so much that the Jets can look like a powerhouse. That run defense was non-existent. I don't think Chris Ivory is going to do that again this year. And I don't hate Chris Ivory, by the way. I think he's an above-average player.
Let's just say when your GM is preoccupied with the text messaging scandal for the whole fucking offseason and ownership's embroiled in scandal.
Well, did you see that story today?
No.
The former CEO of the Browns was trying to send a private message on text
Twitter.
And essentially called Haslam a moron on his own. So maybe they should have some tech courses there in Cleveland.
Yeah. No, I saw, he was trying to send a private tweet and it went public. But no, Cleveland's a mess. They'll always be a mess. You draft quarterbacks like that. And I know Tennessee's record on drafting quarterbacks hasn't been stellar the last few years, but we've had a little more success than them. Not much.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but
a little.
That's
oh,
a
I'm not
big
even
X
talking
for
about that. I'm
both
just
of us
talking
on
Locker
that.
and Young. I'm just talking Locker and Young.
Okay.
They were still better than fucking Quinn and Manziel.
Yeah. Yeah, Young was exciting there for a while. He's kind of RG3 Part 1.
Till he threw his pads into the stands, and then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. I guess RG3's slightly better with media management, but not by much.
No.
Anyway, the final in that was a 31-10 victory for the Jets. All
With
right.
number one of many this year.
Next up, we had, and by the way, sadly, we considered betting on Cleveland, but luckily, we decided not to.
Well, but that was because, now throw in the caveat that we have decided to bet on one underdog each week.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reasoning. So, because we both think the Jets are going to stink, but...
Well, and we decided not to bet on them based on the principle when you get two shitty teams, who knows what's going to happen. We'll get to it later, but I wish we would have followed our own advice on that a little bit later on. Next game up, Green Bay, in a surprisingly good game, actually. Beat Chicago 31-23 and covered at -7. That wasn't guaranteed. Chicago played a pretty damn good game.
Was that another one for Boydo?
No, we both got that.
Oh, you ended up taking Green Bay?
Yeah, I switched there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I convinced you, I think. That was it.
Yeah.
You're welcome. No, I know. What? I didn't watch any of that game either. How come Rodgers finished with under 200 yards passing? Did Lacey run for 300 yards or what?
Lacey ran when it was control, but Chicago's defense forced a lot of 3-and-outs. It was a good football game. Like, I was flipping back to it.
Yeah, but how do you end up getting 31 points then? That's not great defense. And with Rodgers under 200 yards passing.
They actually seemed to shut down Cobb pretty well. But James Jones is going to turn out to be, a sneaky great pickup for Green Bay.
But he only had like 5 catches for 40 yards and 2
Red
TDs.
zone.
No, I know, but where did the yardage, what?
Lacey.
How did they score 31 points? They had to get offense from somewhere if he only throws for 180 yards.
Well, Cutler still did some Cutler things as well.
Well, okay. But that was part of my reasoning.
No, I'm not saying your reasoning was flawed, but it was a surprisingly entertaining and enjoyable game. I didn't watch it all, but it was a constant flip back in the morning there.
Yeah.
So we both got that. Thank you, Boyd.
You're welcome.
All right, the next game up was a victory for us. We took Buffalo on the money line, even though they were 2.5-point underdogs, to beat Indy in Buffalo. This game was not as close as 27-14.
No. Would they score a touchdown with like 3 minutes left or something? 4 minutes left?
Yeah, they got a touchdown relatively early in the second half, but the game was almost decided at that stage.
Well, it was 17-0 at the half. They pitched a shutout in the first half, which was the reason we took Buffalo, was their defense, not their offense. And the fact that Indy starts slow every year for whatever reason. And now there's stories coming out of Indy that the GM and coach aren't getting along. You mean the cancer-friendly coach can't get along? The feel-good story from 2 years ago? The whole organization supports you, Chuck. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know how good he is or not, but the fact is that defense is even worse than a year ago.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I was reading articles during the week that saying, and then they addressed some of their needs on defense. And I'm thinking, did I miss something? What significant change or improvement
Indy,
did they make on defense or the O-line?
Did Bill Polian just leave his notes there when he came in, when he left?
What,
and then the
Frank
new GM
Gore?
just... Well, no, but the new GM just keeps... These guys just keep running the same fucking strategy. Load all their money on offense and then try and piece together a defense. Well, when you play a team with a good defense, you're not going to score 40. So... What's the strategy in Indy? It's the same.
Well, and even in the Peyton days, that O-line was even in Peyton's days, that O-line was excellent. This O-line does not look good. Now, I don't want to overreact there because Buffalo, I think, is probably the best defense in the league. They're going to play a lot of teams that will not be able to shred that offensive line like Buffalo did.
But when you can't stop a guy quarterbacking against you who's been in the league for 5 years, I can't remember him running a play, even in mop time. And he gets 200 yards passing?
41 yards rushing and looked in control.
Yeah,
because there was no heat, absolutely no heat. Like, I didn't watch all of the game once it looked like we were pretty secure in our bet. I flipped away a bunch, but this game went almost exactly as we expected.
Yeah. Which, if the Colts division wasn't so horrible, they'd be in trouble. Right now.
I agree, and we've both said that for 2 years, that I don't care how you deep it. That Kansas City playoff game was still a goddamn fluke.
Yeah.
They got Denver with Peyton Manning and a walker. Like, I don't even buy their playoff success. I don't think they're a particularly good team.
Well, and you could have given Tom Brady a fully deflated football last year, and they would have won that fucking game. Yeah. The AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of that, now correct me if I'm wrong, this tweet was sent out by ESPN's Stats and Info Twitter account. They said 3 out of the 4 teams that played in the championship games last year lost, but I say that's wrong. Was it not Green Bay, Seattle, New England, Indy in the championship games last year?
Seattle.
It was Seattle, Green Bay.
Yeah, and Indy and New England. Yeah, Indy lost. Oh, and Seattle lost. So 2 out of 4.
And Seattle lost, yeah. Only not 3 lost, only 2 lost. Because Green Bay and New England won.
Yeah. Well.
So I saw that tweet and went, nah, that's not right. Did I correct them? No. I retweeted it and then brought it up here.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's pretty minor. But that was a victory for us. Our $10 bet paid $22.50. And that one was really satisfying because it went like we dreamt it.
Yeah, how we envisioned it and discussed it. And our reasoning behind it almost played out just like it. So those are satisfying. The Cleveland one, not so much.
The next game up, Kansas City were 1-point underdogs going to Houston. And this score is a bit misleading too, I think. Kansas City won by 27-20. We considered betting it. Wish we would have, but...
Yeah, it was in the mix on our last 3 picks.
Exactly.
But...
And this game was not as close as that score. I barely watched any of this because KC seemed to just roll up on them. Still haven't thrown a touchdown pass to a wideout in over a year. But
which boggles my fucking mind.
But Houston, their linebacking core... Yeah, fuck you, Cushing. I'll get another one in. They're a disaster. Kelsey just ran wild. He was as open as Gronkowski was. From the highlights I saw. He was catching the ball and he had 10 yards of space around him.
Yeah, and it's not like they're loaded at wideout. That you have to double the wideout.
The aforementioned stat.
Yeah, so what, are you doubling the wideout and just leaving the tight end? Well, they did have Jamal Charles to contend with. I'll give them that. Will take a lot of linebacker attention if you're swinging him out on plays. It'll open up a lot of space because you got to put a linebacker on him.
Yeah,
that frees up a linebacker.
But then I would use my safeties, or at least one of my safeties on the tight end.
Yeah, bracket him. But, well, we saw in the preseason on Hard Knocks that defense was trouble. Outside of Watt and Clowney, there's not a lot there for making plays.
Yeah, they've got a line, and Alex Smith was a good quarterback against them because it's short, safe, quick release stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we were on the right side, both of us, and pretty strong on the right side. We just declined it.
Unfortunately, and we'll get to that later.
And, Houston has already, in that game at least, benched Hoyer for Mallet.
Well, did he get hurt or benched? He was in for 34 passes.
Yeah, and then benched.
And now they're not naming a starter till game time on Sunday. Oh, that should fucking scare people. Ooh, Hoyer, Mallet. Ooh.
We really got to change our prep.
Fucking they'd probably have Savage in there if fucking he wasn't hurt. All three are viable.
Yeah, we'll do like Reeves did back in the Denver days one year, where he would switch quarterbacks with each play. Do you remember that?
No.
It happened for one game. Literally, he would be talking to the other quarterback on the sidelines. They would run a play, and then the next quarterback would run in with the next play. One of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Magical experiment.
It did not catch on. Okay.
I wonder why. He was a coaching genius, though, too.
Oh, right. Yeah. He won a lot of Super Bowls with Elway. Okay. Next up, another victory for us. Though this one, I think we got a hair lucky on. Miami was favored by 3.5 going to Washington. Barely managed to prevail for a 17-10 win.
Yeah, but this game I didn't know how many points Miami would score. I just didn't think Washington could score. And it turns out they can't.
Kirk Cousins but 7 of those points came from a Jarvis Landry punch return.
Yeah.
For Miami, too. I mean, Miami's offense looked as inept as Washington's. And Miami's defense is much higher touted than Washington's.
Well, yeah, but they can't play offense. No, I just thought they'd keep Washington low scoring. Like I said, I didn't know how many points Miami was going to score. I just didn't think Washington could score enough.
Well, this is another preseason hype machine. Was Miami's offense was getting it together, right?
Well, I didn't buy that either.
No, but I thought they could do
so
better, and I thought Washington's O-line was so terrible that even though I don't trust their linebacking core any more than Houston's, I thought with Sue, they would be able to dominate at least the line of scrimmage.
Well, they kind of did, didn't they?
Not from what I saw, flipping around.
Well, no, but did Morris end up with big yards or anything like that? I couldn't tell you. But scoring-wise, I just didn't think Cousins... I'd have been more scared if they put RG3 in to start that game against Miami, to be honest.
Oh, you know my opinion on Cousins. I famously... Well, not famously, but last year I made a strong argument that he really sucked and we bet against him, and you actually even thanked me on the air. So, I'm not a Cousins fan at all. I think he's brutal. No.
And I didn't buy into
I think he has marginal talent and makes terrible decisions. I don't know how much clearer I can be on that.
He had 2 picks and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Got picked off at the 10 on an ill-advised throw. I think it sealed the game from the highlights I saw. But no, I didn't buy into the Miami thing. Like, they were the next favorite in the AFC East to the Patriots. And I'm like, what am I missing with the Bills?
Yeah.
Whose defense is better. And Tannehill hasn't shown... Yeah, he threw for over 4,000 yards last year, I think. But I don't know. The talent on wide receiver is almost non-existent. Running back, they don't run. Like, Miller had good numbers. Lamar Miller had good numbers yesterday. Like a 4.5 yard per carry average, and he gets the ball 12 times.
I was just going to say, I mean, there's something wrong there. They're trying to force a system instead of adapting a system to the players they have.
No, but it's a quarter. It comes down to the thing I said for the last 2 years.
2 years.
Quarterback league.
Since we've started.
Quarterback
Kissing
league.
the ass of the quarterback. That's...
Throw. When the run's working for you, you go away from it. It makes no sense, and we'll get into more of that in a future game that I watched the whole game, and... It makes no sense. You're trying to make somebody look good even if they're not good enough to make look good. I don't get it, but what do I know?
Hey, we cashed it anyway. We squeaked by on that one.
And milquetoast coaches don't fucking work. Philbin. Said it since Hard Knocks. Milquetoast. He's supposed to be an offensive mastermind that was the reason Aaron Rodgers was good. Fuck off.
Aaron Rodgers is good because he may or may not be a human.
He's just good.
He's amazing. He's just... His touchdown... I was reading a little piece today on his touchdown to interception ratio, and no one in history has ever come close. And that's, I think... probably a better number than total yards, total TDs, anything. That's consistency over a long term and avoiding the worst thing you can do.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, still a win. Our $10 bet paid us $19.09. Next game up. It was insane, and I honestly didn't see that much of it. Another one for Boyd, who took the Rams to beat the Seahawks.
Well, I took the points.
Yeah. Got the points. Didn't need them. They beat the Seahawks in... It looked like a disaster to me whenever I watched it.
Okay, I watched the end of the fourth quarter and the overtime. They come out after. Now, is this a carryover from last year? Pete Carroll comes out and says that wasn't supposed to be an onside kick yesterday. Then what the fuck was it? He kicked it 9 yards. What the fuck did you tell him? How hard is it to get that confused? Oh, kick it off.
Well, I think, didn't he say it was supposed to be a squib?
I don't know
even
what he
then,
said, but a
because
squib
they
for what?
Like, they were trying to avoid the big return, but it didn't make a bunch of sense to me either.
If you don't want you got a kicker with the leg could boot it into the first row of the stands.
Yeah,
He can kick
that's a
60-yard
valid point.
fucking field goals. Squib?
And he was in a dome?
Like, fuck off. Like, when's Carroll going to start taking some heat? Well,
That's a good point.
when
Because I hadn't really thought about it much. Because the whole game was played on a pretty marginal level, by the way, intellectually, in my opinion, from what I saw. But you're right. That explanation makes
Holds no
absolutely no sense at all.
squib or not, why are you squib kicking when if you don't want to avoid the long return, every kicker in the NFL can kick it through the end zone when they want to. Like, Suckup from Tennessee isn't known as the biggest leg in the fucking game. He was booting it through the end zone all day, except when he didn't want to.
Well, yeah, and the Chargers cut Novak for that exact reason. He was the only guy who could not kick it into the end zone. And he
Which doesn't
have
do
a
you a
job.
whole fuck of a lot of good in this day and age when they give you 10 extra yards. So that doesn't hold water. And against a team with one of the best defensive fronts, he tries to prove a point and hands off to Lynch 4th and 1 in overtime, and he loses 3 yards. To me, that's where you would have run play action.
Yeah,
And against
because
New
let's
England,
face it, New England is not even close to as lethal in their front seven as the Rams are.
no, but if Seattle had run play action with Lynch, that's a touchdown. That play. That
Yeah,
play
or-
would have been a touchdown.
Or even play action and roll Wilson. I mean, like, going back to the Super Bowl, there were many things they could have done except what they did.
Yeah. So now, for all the people that said Marshawn Lynch can get it easy, it's not. It's just not up to him. That 1 yard, you have to actually block something to be able to pick up that yard, and they met him in the backfield. So it doesn't always work. It may have worked in the Super Bowl, but you don't know. It didn't work yesterday. The pass that he got picked off in the Super Bowl, great play by Butler. That's all it was. Great play. Shut the fuck up about it.
Yep.
If he catches it for a touchdown, what a gutsy call. He didn't make the play. New England did. That's football.
No, and as we discussed, and this is, I think, all we have to say about it, is it was one of the best coaching moves I've ever seen was Belichick not calling the timeout that everyone would assume. Because he saw
because
the
Seattle
lineup
thought he was.
and he knew exactly what they were going to do and was begging them to run that play.
And Seattle was confused because they were walking around thinking New England was going to call a timeout. Then they had to hurry their play.
Yep. That was a great coaching move.
Well, what do you have to lose at that point?
Well,
There's
yeah,
just
because
as
at
much
that
pressure
stage,
on
he's
Seattle.
probably realistically only got a 20% chance to win the game. He needs a turnover there.
Yeah. And, okay, in a high-pressure situation, I want guys thinking fast. I don't want to give them time to think.
Yep.
Like, there's two...
You see, that's underrated. You know I like to knock on New England, but that really was one of the greatest coaching sequences I've ever seen.
And if you go back, I said the exact same thing after the Super Bowl last year, what he did. And on that one show on the Football Network, what the fuck's it called? Do Your Job, that followed him through that game, that's exactly what he did. No, let's run it. Let him run it. Because there's, in a situation when the stage is that big, it's hard to keep your thoughts in check and be critically thinking when things are moving that fast. So he made the right play.
Yep.
Made the right. It may
And
backfire
had the
on him next
confidence
time.
in his own decision to make the right play.
Yeah.
He didn't think, I need to think about this more. I'm confident that I have exactly the defense I want for what I think they're going to run.
And where Seattle thought they were going to do the conventional thing, he didn't, and then they didn't know what the fuck to do. So,
not to take away from Butler, because that still was a hell of a play.
Yes, but kudos to Bill Belichick.
All right, the next game we did not bet on. We both took Detroit to beat my hometown Chargers. Fuck you, Mitch.
And it looked good for the first quarter when it was 21-3.
We were talking on the phone, and I just said, I'm just going to get depressed and watch some more Chargers football. I'll talk to you later. And I don't really know what to think about this. I'm not going to get too excited about it either. Few things I really liked.
Your defense played well.
We held Golden Tate and Calvin Johnson combined to under 100 yards. Now,
and how'd you do that? Was it pressure on Stafford? Was it just
on
good
Calvin
DB
Johnson?
Play?
We varied between a cornerback and a safety over top. Occasionally, two safeties. We got a marginal amount of pressure. I mean, not much. We're not going to scare anybody, but the quarterbacks weren't just standing back there for 5 seconds like they did all last year. I'm starting to think Stafford just may not be that good.
I don't know what's going on in Detroit.
Yeah, like, again, I'm not going to read
he's
too
not
much
bad.
into this. No, he's not bad.
But your defense can't be on the field for fucking 8-minute drives in the fourth quarter either.
Well, from about halfway through the second quarter, the Chargers just... It wasn't even necessarily dink and dunk. I mean, we got 20-yard plays in there, but we had possession for forever. There was a 3rd and 19 to Keenan Allen, who had just a ridiculous game with 15 catches for 166. But he caught the ball maybe 7 yards upfield and then roamed through the middle, made 2 moves, and we converted a 3rd and 19, which I cannot remember. And the defense got 3 turnovers. I can't remember that either.
No, from what I saw in the second half, you guys looked pretty good. Defensively.
And there was nothing surprising about it. I mean, it wasn't like the O-line gave great protection, but Rivers is still the best at getting the ball out in under 2 seconds. And just kept doing it. Used Stevie Johnson. I think Malcolm Floyd only caught 1 ball. Melvin Gordon wasn't exciting, but he was enough of a threat that they had to pay some attention to him. And only once did he get to the line and hesitate. He was trying to hit the holes. It wasn't great, but that's more of a function of the O-line, I think. But overall, I just couldn't believe it. I didn't even get my hopes up till halfway through the fourth.
Well, you were still behind.
Our time of possession was so ridiculous.
Yeah, and the defense was sucking wind.
Detroit's?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One thing they beat us on pretty good was screen passes. So I'm pretty worried about the Cincy matchup coming up. I think Giovanni Bernard might be a nice play. But that was almost all. Detroit couldn't, after the first quarter, they could not push the ball downfield at all. So, I was a real happy guy.
Good come from behind victory for you guys.
And
I don't know what it says going forward. And you guys gave up a garbage time touchdown, too, to make that look a little closer than it was.
Yeah, and though on the previous play to the garbage time touchdown, it was the right call. It was not a pick in the end zone. But Weddle almost took a pick on a pass to Golden Tate, too. So we didn't entirely lay down on that prevent drive. Overall, I'm excited, but I honestly don't know what I just watched. I don't know if this is sustainable or we just caught a Caldwell-coached Detroit team.
Oh, and you did lose 2 offensive linemen to injury in that game, too.
Well, Fluker... Who else did I lose?
I can't remember. They moved your center over to guard.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember who you lost. I was flipping back and forth.
This is why I was happy in the offseason we talked about. Just keep buying utility offensive linemen. We'll need them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't remember the name. I don't know your team. I knew Fluker was down, and then another guy was out.
Yeah.
And on that second Woodhead touchdown, they had a new center in. The center had moved to guard. Somebody else had moved to a tackle. It was kind of a mishmash of everything. So,
well, after last year at the center position, I think they train everyone from tight ends down. Anyone who's at least tight end size has to learn how to play center because we'll probably need you. So, okay. Next up was another game we considered betting. I really didn't see much of this because I was pretty riveted to my Chargers game in the afternoon. We both picked Arizona -2.5 versus New Orleans. Considered betting it.
And then ended up going with the game we'll get to later.
Yes. This one was no gimme either. I think Arizona actually underperformed just from the rhythm when I would see scores go by.
Well, yeah, it was a 1-point game late into the second half.
Yeah.
And then Arizona pulled away, but yeah, it was no runaway, and then New Orleans kind of crawled back into it. It was pretty tight in the fourth quarter, which... yeah, it will happen, and the better team should pull it out at home. But I don't know what Arizona has, because I don't think New Orleans is that strong.
No. And Arizona at home was a lock for the last couple of years. This one surprised me by how close it was as late as it was. A lot of these scores, I think, are deceptive on how close they were. This one is deceptive by the margin of victory, which Arizona won 31-19.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't see a whole hell of a lot of it.
I didn't either. I saw the John Brown touchdown, and that was it. And the fact that the Saints struggle in the red zone now without Graham. 1 touchdown, 4 field goals.
Yeah, but I don't think New Orleans... Yeah, I don't know yet whether Arizona is worse than we thought or New Orleans is a little better than we thought.
Well, I don't think it's... I think Arizona will get better as the year goes on, and I think New Orleans is going to keep... They are what they are. They're going to be that high-powered offense that we were used to with them. They're going to be a 20-point-a-game team. I think that's their ceiling, 20 to 24 points. And if you're giving up 31 to Arizona, you're in trouble on defense.
Arizona scored well last year with Carson Palmer, so I just still don't trust a Rob Ryan defense.
No, he had one good year in New Orleans, and he
it's
keeps
like
his
Jay
job.
Gruden versus John Gruden. There's one brother who's actually good at this. Okay, this game I'm kind of interested in. This is what I was flipping to from my Chargers game. Denver versus Baltimore. We both had Denver laying 4.5 points, which they covered, and that was a 19-13 game.
Well, let's see. Both defenses were good. Each defense had a pick six.
Yeah, no offensive touchdowns in this game.
had a 56, a 57, and a 50-something field goal made in that game. 2 by Denver, 1 by Baltimore. I think Flacco was under 150 yards passing. They had no running game. Denver, same thing. Manning under 200 yards.
Sacked
Can't
4
throw.
times, I believe.
Can't throw anymore. This isn't just a thing. It's not just a blip. This is a trend, and it's not good. This isn't favorable for Denver at all.
I don't think so. Like, I saw a couple of plays. I was talking to you during one of them, and I just said, yeah, they rolled Manning out, and he tried to hit a wide open, I think it was C.J. Anderson, and he threw the ball 3 yards in front of him. Like, into the ground. And every throw over the middle that I saw was not fast. And he was putting his whole body into it. It's what we talked about from those clips in Hard Knocks.
Yeah. And I figured out why he's back. There was one record he didn't have. Most wins. He needs like 6 or 7 wins to pass far for most wins by a quarterback. That's why he's back.
And they're probably good enough to get that 6.
Oh, they will.
But
he'll get it. If he doesn't get hurt, he'll get it. But that's why he's back. I couldn't figure it out. Because he wasn't sure he was going to come back. But this will be if he passes far for that record, he's done.
Well, and I don't know that would necessarily be his choice, because unless he finds some miracle elk antler healing potion or something,
somebody would. If he wanted to play,
is done.
If he wanted to go to Buffalo, Rex Ryan would take him.
You're probably
Next
right
year.
there.
So there'd be a job for him, but I think he's done. After this year, he'll break Favre's record, and that's it.
Now, I know Denver's defense, in my opinion, is excellent. And we've been saying this for quite a while, especially with Wade Phillips calling the shots. But I don't understand why people were picking Baltimore to win the Super Bowl with no offensive weapons.
Yeah, well, and they're banking on Perryman, a rookie wide receiver. Yeah. He was out, hurt, but they said during the game, because I was flipping between that, Titans, and Chargers on my Titans commercials, and they actually said that. Oh, there's not much outside of Steve Smith with Perryman out. Well, whose fault is that? There's guys wandering the streets. Like, yeah. You mean an Akeem Nicks isn't better than what you threw out there? Or Reggie Wayne? Just a warm body that's got experience, that knows the basic routes, that you don't have to retrain as a rookie? Although Steve Smith did drop a touchdown. It hit him right in the face mask.
Oh, yeah. Well, because all receivers of his age are excellent. Because that's your whole offense. And you also have an old running back who's had one season which is statistically not in line with anything else he's ever done in his career. And Joe Flacco.
But their defense is still strong.
Yeah, they did lose Suggs, though.
Yeah.
Which is gonna hurt. I think this says more about Denver than it does about Baltimore. Denver still couldn't move the ball with Suggs gone.
Thursday night will tell us
I like our KC bet for the West.
Yeah.
To be honest here. Like, I'm certainly not ready to jump on the Chargers bandwagon, but I really think the best-looking team in the West right now is the Kansas City Chiefs.
And they play Denver Thursday night. This is a Thursday night game I might actually have to watch. I know we haven't watched a lot of them, but this is a good one.
This is a weird case where I think the Thursday lineup favors the team we want, right?
Well, it always favors the home team.
Yeah.
It does. Statistically, it does.
Yeah.
It's like 3 out of 4 for the home team.
I'm hoping for
on
a
these
juicy
games.
line on this one. But
It's not juicy.
no, fuck.
No.
Okay.
It's basically, they're saying it's a pick 'em. They've got Kansas City -3. They're giving them the home field points. That's it. I don't know.
I'm at the stage right now, though, like, to just summarize where I'm at on this. Until Peyton Manning proves to me he can throw a ball again, he's done.
But what does Manning have to do to lose, or for Denver to lose some of their juice? I don't know. Like, you're basically giving Kansas City the token when they're at home 3 points in this game.
Well, and I'm still leaning there, and we'll get more into that tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But, you know, until Manning proves otherwise, I'm ready to fade them for quite a while here. Because I think our number's always going to be a little favorable.
I hope you're right.
Okay. Next game up. We were so fucking wrong. Hang our heads in shame. We both picked Oakland.
Oh.
Over Cincy. We were only getting 3 points. I would like to say it's because Carr got hurt, but he was fucking terrible too.
Yeah.
This was a shit stomping. And this score misrepresents Oakland. It's 33-13, and Oakland didn't deserve 3.
Okay, I didn't watch down a millisecond. Oh, I did. I saw Jeremy Hill score a touchdown.
Yeah, I would turn occasionally when they were in the red zone, because I, of course, own Hill in all my fantasy leagues. And so I wanted those TDs, but this was cruel.
See, Dalton looked good in this game, of course. But when you bet on him, he'll shit the bed.
Yeah, but what we forget, though, sometimes about the
Bengals
I thought
Oakland
is they are a very above-average team. There's talent fucking everywhere on that team.
Yeah, with a 10-cent coach.
10-cent coach and 75-cent quarterback?
Yeah, he'll play, like, that's what I'm saying. He'll look good in this game. I should remember this. But come Pittsburgh, come Baltimore, he'll revert to form. And fuck yeah.
When you absolutely need that win, he will not be there. But
they've had the
overall, this
division
is
in
a
their
really good football team.
Okay, he's Tony Romo 3 years ago. They played for the division
Without being
like
charming
last
in
game
any
of the
way.
season. No, but Cincinnati played for the division the last 2 seasons, the last game of the season, and fucking lost. And he played like shit. Lost all 3 playoff games.
They won the division 2 years ago, and then the Chargers thumped them at home in the playoffs. Last year, when we had them bet to win the division, they needed to win one of their last 2 and 7'd out.
Okay, then that's 2 out of the last 3, because didn't they have to go to Pittsburgh one year and win to get in the division?
That sounds familiar. But again,
Or
the
vice
bigger
versa.
the game, the less interesting Dalton becomes.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe he'll turn it
He's
around.
got one of the top 10 receivers, easily in AJ Green. They've got the best running back tandem in the league. They've got a solid, if not tremendous, defense. How this team hasn't won a playoff game is amazing. It's got to be coaching.
It's their quarterback. It's quarterback. That's all it is.
That said, when they get to face a team like Oakland, I don't think we should doubt them.
Well, no, but the spread against when they play Cleveland, let's say, is going to be over a touchdown.
This is Oakland, and they were only laying 3.
I know, but
there's so much hatred for Dalton out there. I think this might be another
it's not
team
even
that we
that.
have to try to exploit.
No, they're not. No, because when they play Cleveland or they play Baltimore or they play Pittsburgh, okay, Cleveland they'll be laying more than 7, and against Baltimore and Pittsburgh, it's going to be 3 either way.
Well, that's what I
depending
say.
where they're playing.
If they get a cream puff, though,
I'm not. Yeah, but every cream puff they play, they're going to get more than that. See, the problem is Vegas has the same problem with opening week as we do. They got hammered yesterday. 9 out of 13 favorites covered. Hammered yesterday. Could be one of their worst opening weekends ever. So, us getting that game wrong, I don't feel that horrible. Because Vegas had it at 3 and they lost by fucking almost by 20.
Okay, I see your argument, but Vegas did come back big on the Monday night.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying Vegas is
came
stupid,
back
but
on the night games. Actually, everything after this. But, so let's move on. My prediction of Oakland's rising from the grave, way premature.
Yeah, me too.
They're starting to look like Cleveland. I'm ashamed of that pick. Truly shamed. But a much more enjoyable game from your perspective. We both got this one right. We didn't even hesitate. In fact, I believe I even said last week that I would like to bet Tennessee.
Well,
talk to me about it.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to temper my expectations and what I saw based on Tampa Bay was as bad as Tennessee last year. So you have to factor that in. But in factoring that in, why wasn't it the same from the other side? Because we were as bad defensively last year as Tampa. Maybe worse.
That's valid.
And I will say this. I didn't watch a lot of Jameis Winston in college. Questioned him being the number 1 pick just based on off-the-field transgressions. And usually you want your quarterback to be a better decision maker on and off the field. I think Tampa Bay got swayed by him being kind of the hometown kid to a degree. And they thought that would generate fan interest in state, which it has. The place was packed yesterday. But he's not good. He has so far... He's RG3. He doesn't have the speed. Threw off his back foot, through falling away, threw into coverage. First quarterback since Brett Favre to have his first pro pass picked off for a touchdown. That's 24 years, folks.
Well, and Brett Favre was a backup in Atlanta, and I believe he went in the 7th because everyone assumed he would play baseball.
No. He went in round 2, but
2? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's still that's a long way to go, dude. I know they didn't have Mike Evans, but if Jameis Winston turns into a good quarterback, I'll fucking eat a Tampa Bay hat on video. He's bad. Because the Titans' defense isn't that great. I hate to say it, but it's not. And he struggled with that defense. The first touchdown he got to Safarian Jenkins was set up by a missed pick through the hands of a DB 4 yards in front of Safarian Jenkins, who bobbled it and caught it along the sidelines to give him the ball at the 6, which then turned into a touchdown on the next play, or a couple of plays later, which made it 21-7, and I got a little nervous just knowing the Titans' defense after the missed pick opportunity. I got a little nervous, and then we marched down in the second quarter and made it 28-7. And then I was like, oh, okay. Then another touchdown, 35-7 at the half. It was ball game. But they kept... It was funny. One of the announcers during the game, I told you this yesterday, said, oh, when you look at the tape, the Tampa Bay coach will be able to see, we weren't that far off on some things, and it's not as bad as it looks. And on the Titan side, it'll be, we made a lot of mistakes. It wasn't as easy as it looked. And Steve Berline goes, it's been pretty ugly today.
Yeah.
I'm like it was ugly all the way around for Tampa. Now, on to Mariota. And I'm trying to stay calm and reasonable, but we play in a really weak division. We have a last place schedule, and I told you this before the podcast. My favorite part of him wasn't the 4 touchdowns. It wasn't all the other shit. His brain, the decision making. He made one bad throw that should have got picked off. The guy dropped it. But he still only had 3 incompletions. Made the right reads at the goal line, and the release. Marlon, I had no idea he had this kind of release. Footwork, fucking everything. Didn't look to run, eyes downfield. They ran quick slants. The 2 touchdown passes, one was like 5-step drop. Delaney Walker just ran to the goal line and fucking turned around, and it was on him. The other one was to Harry Douglas on a slant, and right on the fucking money. The timing of it, the release, the quickness, fucking everything was beautiful. They ran the read option to fucking set up the first touchdown to Kendall Wright and just froze everybody on Tampa. It was...
that didn't
I don't even
impress
know
me
how
as
to
much as the bullets he was throwing in the end zone.
I don't know
That's where you need the velocity.
how to describe it as a fan by trying to temper my expectations going forward. But for one game at least, he looked like the real deal. He didn't look like it overwhelmed him like a lot of rookie quarterbacks look, if that makes any sense.
No, he didn't even look that way in the preseason. He was smooth.
I hate...
Smooth
And what I
matters,
But I know.
You can sense the panic, you can sense the happy feet, particularly from a mobile guy. But he would do those rollouts.
He didn't look to run.
No, they were strides. He was rolling over, and
No, but he didn't look to run. They did 2 designed run plays. That's the only time he ran.
Well, and most of these quarterbacks, particularly the mobile ones, you don't get your first read. With some of the better ones, the second read. Then they tuck it and take off. He doesn't do that.
Oh, it was... I don't even know. I fucking will eat my words for the next decade. I hope I'm so fucking wrong. I didn't want him taking him. But if this is any indication of what he has as potential, I'm over the fucking moon, dude.
As you should be.
I was running up the fucking stairs, just fucking.
I'll be a bit of the devil's advocate and just.
Oh
say,
no, Marlon, I know what's coming the rest of this year. But
Tampa Bay, coached by Lovie Smith, who's still running a pretty much undisguised cover 2. Like, Lovey, you're done.
No, but Marlon, my point of crappy division, weak schedule. I'm not saying we're a playoff team, but we're going to be... I said we'd win 4 games this year. I think 7 or 8's a realm of possibility right now. If our defense can do anything. We ran the ball well, which having a quarterback helps you run the ball.
Who you got next week?
Cleveland.
Oh, okay. Another confidence builder.
So
it's going to be hard for him to throw. I still think the Cleveland's pass defense is all right.
I don't know about that, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm over the fucking moon with where he could be in a few years.
Well, just so long. I mean, I hate to be this guy, but you crushed the Chiefs last year in week 1. Let's not win only one more in the rest of your season.
Oh, I know. Dude. We ran the ball.
Sankey even looked good, and that's where I'm worried about how bad Tampa Bay is.
And so did Terrence West.
Terrence Best in tight situations.
But Wisenhunt won a challenge yesterday, which he only won one all of last year. And it was on a 4th down play where they stuffed the run. And I'm like, he didn't get it. And then they measure, and he got.
Oh, I saw that. I just came in at the end that they respotted the ball, and then he ended up about 6 inches short, right?
Oh, Marlon, it was where the ball was. The announcers are watching where his head is, and the ball was in his right hand, tucked up by his chest. He never got close to it. You could see it. I called it live. I'm like, you didn't get it. And then, there it is, nose of the football right on the fucking chain. I'm like, fuck off. So we challenged, and they're like, there's not enough evidence for that, and they overturned it. Because there wasn't enough evidence.
Which is really rare, because usually those ball spot challenges.
Well, no, but it wasn't in the middle of the pile.
Failure. Yeah.
It wasn't there. You had a clear view of the ball. There was no pile around him. They didn't dive into the pile and measure it and then try and do it. He was on the outside of the tackle and stuffed. And you could plainly see the ball. Even fucking Mike Carey, who does their stupid announcer ref thing, he called it and said, no, you can see the ball. And they highlight it and circle it, and there it is. It's nowhere near the marker. Okay. But the refs fucked Terrence West out of a touchdown because he got in, but gave Mariota another one. So, and it's just, I know... last year I was confident in the defense after they beat Kansas City. I'm not confident in the defense. I'm more confident in the offense this year, and I know Mariota's going to struggle. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying we're having the miraculous turnaround where we're winning the division and being a playoff team. I'm saying 7 or 8 wins is now on the table just because of our schedule.
I'm leaning more to 5 or 6, but...
No, against.
Okay. Let me just put this hypothetical out there. Say I'm right, and it's 5 or 6 wins. Do you still support moving on from Wisenhunt?
I think we're more than that this year. 5 or 6 wins, yes.
What do you want?
Keep Wisenhunt.
I just personally think you don't change up this situation.
No, you don't. And I'll say it after this first game because the game plan they had for him was perfect.
Okay.
What they ran for Mariota, the plays they called, the situations they put him in, perfect for his skill set. Now, I don't know if Locker couldn't grasp that offense, or they changed it to fit Mariota, or what happened in the offseason, but I didn't see plays like this out of them last year. And I think it has to do more with Mariota being able to react quicker, make better decisions quicker, and all that stuff. Well, you know how the good quarterbacks make the right decision.
Yeah.
So, is he going to have struggle? Yes. I'm not saying he's just going to run through the league first time through and be a fucking Pro Bowler. No, they're going to struggle. But when you have 4 games combined between Jacksonville and Houston, you've got Cleveland coming up. I like her chances for 7 to 8 wins now.
Okay.
And the Colts don't look like world beaters on defense either.
No, but at that stage you're getting ahead of yourself. But we got to move on to our final 3 games here. But it's kind of fun to hear some enthusiasm about your team.
Well, no, we might have finally drafted a quarterback.
I just won't do anything. No, and, how can... Hey, I don't care if you only beat Tampa Bay, really. Yeah, it's going to get harder. But you did what you had to against Tampa Bay. You put up 42. Enough said. Okay.
We scored more points at the end of the first half than in any game last year.
Fair enough.
I'll take it.
Yep. Okay, the Sunday Nighter. One for Marlon, finally. I took the New York Football Giants. +6. What a disaster of a game. Didn't it feel like Dallas should have won by 17?
They should have. 2 tip balls for picks.
Okay, I'm just going to say, most of the games I watched were at least entertaining and looked like football, unlike many opening weeks. These night games were just uglier than shit.
Well, Dallas looked good outside of the 2 drives at the end of the first half. Their offensive line looks as good as it was last year.
They moved between the 20s, though. They moved at 5 and 6 yard chunks, but it was just between the 20s.
Romo looks good, but
there was no explosiveness to their team at all.
I don't know what. No, but they took Bryant out of the game. However, they did that. Double teamed, whatever. That'll happen.
And then he broke his foot.
Yeah, but I don't know how that's going to affect Dallas going forward. Probably a lot. But Romo is still really good. The running game is adequate.
The pass rush doesn't exist in this reality. Their secondary's thin.
But the defense was put in horrible spots. Like, how many points were the defense responsible for in that game?
The Giants are awful. Their best player blew his fingers off. Their best player lost track of how many timeouts there were, and instead of turtling for a sack, he threw an incompletion in the end zone. The Giants are a goddamn disaster, and Dallas needed the most improbable and lazy touchdown drive against a prevent defense I've ever seen.
No, I know, but where it matters on that offensive line, they're going to score points. I'll chalk this one up a little to being first week of the season, playing the Giants, division game. The Giants played decent defense in the red zone, got a couple of breaks. Like, how many times do you see that happen where a guy catches a ball, gets hit, and the ball just pops right into his teammate's fucking hands, and he runs it to the 3? Like, there's luck involved on both sides.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about Dallas's.
No, but they got 17. The Giants had 17 points off turnovers, and they went a total of 25 yards.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like they marched up and down the field on the Cowboys' defense.
The Giants are terrible.
I know, but I'm just saying, Beckham didn't do fuck all in that game. They took him out of the game.
No, and that doesn't really surprise me.
No, but you take away their biggest weapon.
Yep.
So I don't. That was a weird game for Dallas with the way
that was just a weird and ugly game on many levels.
No, but Beasley fumbling there, setting up a touchdown.
Hey, I'm not gonna jump to conclusions, but it made me worry.
No, but when you get that many points off turnovers, there's luck involved there too.
And anytime a team's best running back is named McFadden, that is worries.
What I liked out of them was Dunbar. He's going to be huge for him this year. Out of the backfield,
yeah,
he's going to be good. And Randall runs. In this league, you don't have to run like they did last year. Their offensive line gave him oodles of time, and it's not just because the Giants are bad. They did that all of last year against whoever they played. Seattle, they fucking kept...
It's one game, and it's an overreaction, but I'm seeing an 8-8 team, and losing Des Bryant, that expectation is maybe even dipping downwards.
No. So they went from being the favorite to win the division to an 8-8 team after one game, and you're not overreacting?
Well, once again, the NFC East, with the exception of Dallas last year, is usually won by an 8-8 team.
The division's weak. They'll win the division 10-6. If I was Dallas, I would go grab a Reggie Wayne just till Des Bryant. He's better than anything you've got to replace Des, and he's better than anybody else that's sitting out there waiting for a phone call. Why wouldn't you bring him in? What have you got to lose? He can't be that bad. He can at least still catch a fucking ball.
That's not a bad move for Dallas, but yeah, I guess this was just an ugly, boring game.
No, but
I
when
just wanted to go to bed.
Did they not get a fumble recovery for a touchdown and a fluky pick? If you even call it that, it was a fumble that popped into the air and was ran back to the 3. So I don't think the defense played horribly. And Romo was Romo. He's still good.
Oh, I love Romo.
He was clean the whole game. That offensive line will win a lot of games for them.
Yeah, okay.
Don't forget. They went into fucking Green Bay and should have won that fucking game based on their. It's not like that defense is horrible. They held Green Bay to 26 points twice last year. I believe. No, just once. Sorry. They didn't play him the other time. But that was Patriots in Green Bay.
Yeah. And
they should have won that game, by the way, because that was a fucking touchdown to Bryant. But they're still a decent football team. Their division's weak. I still think they win the division. And Bryant will come back in 6 weeks. Maybe not.
Well, I was going to suggest we buy back our bet until I saw that Philly is not as advertised.
Well, that was a lot of in between the 20s, too. Fuck. Whatever. But we'll get to that game now.
Yeah, because I have no conclusions on Dallas Giants. I think the Giants are atrocious.
They are.
When you need the other team to do one of the most horrific botch jobs of clock management I've ever seen. I mean, good God, Andy Reid, Romeo Crennel, all these other coaches have to be pointing at Garrett going, see? Like that, or not Garrett Coughlin, my mistake. You know what I mean, though? That
not
was
many
as
games.
Stunningly bad as I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, Marlon, I'm not disagreeing with that, but the law of averages with the turnovers will even out. You don't usually have 17 points off of turnovers.
Dallas should not have had a chance to win that game.
No, but they should.
The Giants, who I think are one of the absolute scum bottom feeders in the world, and Dallas was at home.
But all I'm saying is, how many times do you give up 17 points off turnovers where basically they're in your end zone? That's all I'm saying. The average of the turnovers, the luck factor of the turnovers will even out.
Yeah, we'll see. I still think that was a ridiculously fluky victory for Dallas.
As you said, Dallas should have. Didn't it feel like Dallas should have won by 17? Yes, they should have.
Yes, against one of the worst teams in the league.
Fine,
and
win's a win.
They needed blind. Yeah, well,
win's a win.
Doesn't necessarily bode well. Let's see how they play in the future. Next,
no, but if that's your logic, then the Chargers are the same thing.
No, we dominated for 3 quarters.
So did the Cowboys. Dominated the whole fucking game.
And we had an 11-point lead with 6 minutes left.
Did you have 3 turnovers? Did you have 2 fumbles?
Actually, we had a pick 6 that we gave up, and a fumble,
Did you give up
and a fumble, and another pick to take points off the board. So yes, we had 3 turnovers involving points.
Were you at the goal line on 2 of them and the 30 for the other? Come on.
Well, that's
your fault. You know what the difference was in that game?
Time management. That was the difference
Giants
in that game.
On offense?
The Giants, if Eli Manning takes that sack, Dallas loses. It's that simple. All the rest of it, you can say, well, if you don't have turnovers, you're not in that situation.
I'm saying that'll balance out.
That's ridiculous, boy.
No, I'm not. I didn't say. I said they will balance out.
Maybe over the course of the season. Maybe, but you just lost your star receiver too. I don't see great things going ahead in Dallas. And
Well, the only thing that changed from last year to this, because Romo did the same thing against the Giants last year, was they lost Des Bryant. That offensive line is still one of the best in football. And when they can control the clock like that, I'll take that 9 times out of 10 versus we're going to give up 3 fucking turnovers right at our fucking goal line, basically.
That's nice, but they don't get to play the Giants every week.
No, they get to play Philly.
Well,
and
anyway, Philly coming up. We both picked them to beat Atlanta. I originally had Atlanta. That was a mistake to switch over.
But Atlanta doesn't look
God,
like any.
Can you figure out Philly to save your life, Boyd?
No, but Atlanta doesn't look like anything either.
Oh, I
Ryan
know, and that's why I'm downgrading Philly.
Gets picked off in the end zone. That
first pick off in the end zone, though, was Alonso made a ridiculous pick. That was gorgeous.
No, it was a gorgeous pick, but no way it should have been thrown. He was standing almost right in front of the guy.
Yeah, he thought he could get it over. Didn't get the leap. I still give that one more to Alonso than Ryan. Philly didn't appear at all in the first half. Like, what do you think? Do you think they're good?
No. But they're probably going to win 8 or 9 games just on the offense alone. Like Giants, Redskins, they can't beat them.
They're gonna rattle people. Not sure what he's doing with the backs. Whether he's trying to rest Murray for later in the season.
Matthews,
why? No. Why not? I think that might be a smart idea.
Oh, no, but Matthews dropped a first down ball on an easy screen pass. Like, does that stuff continue to happen? Like, who knows where these drives end? Fucking drops like that and shit. Bradford was off.
Atlanta's defense, who I still don't think is any goddamn good, looked like world beaters in the first half. And I don't think they're a good defense. I don't think they have any pass rush.
No, but when you look at how many new moving parts did they put into that offense? You got a rookie wide receiver.
That's interesting.
Your lead back first time, quarterback first time running that system. He hardly played in the preseason, which is a mistake. When you're coming into that offense is so different than what a normal quarterback runs in the NFL. He should have played a lot more in the preseason.
Yeah, okay.
Just to get reps. He may improve. I don't think Bradford's that bad. He's going to put up 300 yards a game. Foles did.
No, I don't think Bradford's bad, and I think it's a good system for him. I think if he takes a few more of the hits that even Atlanta's pussycat pass rush can put on him, that Bradford's going to once again go down. But let's not forget, a famous quote from Chip Kelly was, "In my offense, you need 2 quarterbacks because one of them is going to get hurt."
Oh, no, but I think I know that statement, and it's probably going to happen. But I think Bradford will get better in the system and his reads as the season goes along.
Yeah, if they could put a bubble around him, I think Philly would be world beaters. I'm still not against them, but for all the moves and all of that, this looks like the same Philly team we've seen for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's why I said they'd win 10 games.
you said 8 or 9, but
or 8 or 9, but
enough.
But they've won 10 the last couple of years.
Yeah,
they can put up points. They'll have their games where they're going to put up 50. We know that. Yep. And I think the offense will improve as Bradford and Murray get more reps in the system. And firing live bullets, you can do anything in practice when guys just two-hand touch you and aren't trying to hit the quarterback. Fuck, Hoyer and Mallet look good in preseason and camp. Everybody, when you can't hit them, looks fucking great at quarterback. So, as they see more live game action, the offense will improve, and they'll win their share of games.
Yeah, they're going to be a threat in any way, but as gambling goes, I don't want to go near them.
There might be some value in them after this game.
Yeah, we'll see in the future, but they're so goddamn unpredictable. And we got to move on because we're coming up on 90 minutes here. So, the final game we bet this week, I'll take all blame for this. This was a goddamn reeking disaster. Minnesota -2.5 against the Niners. I'd rather go watch Canadian high school football than this game.
Oh, it was awful.
It was so awful it was amusing.
Well, okay. Can ESPN not hire 2 broadcasters that can call a football game? That was unlistenable.
Yep.
Fucking anybody that says Phil Simms is horrible, fucking listen to that game. Fucking Trent Dilfer. Oh, what a douche. It was like he was the one-man fucking pep squad for fucking Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah. He gave him a sleeve job. That's
Did he say he was a star coming out of college? Is he one of those guys, how he rates the quarterbacks and he calls some out and fucking other ones he blows them and, wait for this, I was on the Kaepernick bandwagon he's fucking terrible.
Yep.
When you can't make the slant throw for 8 yards for a first down, you throw it at the guy's feet, your third year in the league, you're fucking done, dude.
And, well, the worst one was when he was arguing that was brilliant ball placement to throw it 2 feet behind a crossing middle receiver. Oh, he was trying a back shoulder throw there. That was great pass placement. You're going to get your receiver killed, A, and B, no, that was just a bad throw.
Yeah, like, okay, so in his theory or logic, throwing it to the back shoulder, all it did was make the receiver turn his back to the safety coming across the middle so he didn't get it under the chin. That was basically
your body awkwardly between 2 closing safeties. Great idea.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Like, I just could not believe he was actually saying that. And then he brought up where Kaepernick had been working out to be a pocket passer. Like, does he own a share in that so-called quarterback school?
Well, and the other thing...
that was just like an endorsement. Because what were Kaepernick's numbers? 150 yards?
Yeah, I didn't even look at the final stats.
He looked better, but you know what he looked like? Tebow. You roll him out, you can make some 5-yard completions. And then your other players would do well. Carlos Hyde was great. San Francisco crushed the Vikings. But...
And, okay, I watched, like, last bit of the second quarter and the full third quarter. Was San Francisco's defense good, or was it just Minnesota's ineptitude?
I think it was more Minnesota's ineptitude that O-line is non-existent. San Francisco got good pressure, but they also got good pressure with a lot of safety and corner blitzes, which means you're not getting pressure generally with your front, right?
Yeah.
And those were well-timed and very effective, but, you know, before the podcast you mentioned you haven't watched many Bridgewater games. I have watched a fair number. He has never looked worse than that. It was like he regressed to worse than he was on his first game.
Well, I watched the one throw he made, and his hand never came above his shoulder from bring back to release. Which shocked the shit out of me. I'm like, everybody was talking about him turning the corner this year and being a good quarterback.
70% accuracy on deep balls. He was the most accurate rookie quarterback in the history of the league. And in the first quarter, if he put a ball within 5 yards of a receiver, it was a goddamn miracle. Just terrible.
And I'm not overreacting here, but we may have to readjust on the Niners, how bad they're going to be defensively, because that's where we thought they were going to stink.
You know, after that game, I'm not willing to move that way yet.
Well, I'm just putting it out there.
No, I'm
they
not
still
against
have
you
talent.
because...
Like, they tackled well in the parts of the game I watched, like screen passes, tackled Peterson.
With Minnesota, what we might also have to remember is how much I hated Norv Turner. And...
But people were putting... Minnesota's hype went off the charts because of Bridgewater's last half and Peterson coming back. Peterson looked like a guy who hadn't played in a year.
Yep.
Did not look good. Didn't look decisive. Didn't have a burst. And he's 30. Even a year off at 30. 30's kind of the A cutoff for running backs.
Yep.
Being really effective.
I mean, I've read some good numbers that say that it's more about the touches, and have shown that, but he's probably bumping up on those touch numbers too. Because he carried teams for a lot of years.
The same. I know, but your muscles don't react the same. I don't care how much weight you lift. When you're not playing football, you lose something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, this was the ugliest game of the week.
No, but that was against a team that was supposed to be bad. So. That was a game that was supposed to be against a team that was supposed to be bad, like bad.
No, Bridgewater was brutal, though. I think Adrian
Peterson
could have been 26-year-old Adrian Peterson.
That fucking
I'm not
San
certain
Francisco
it would have improved it, because when you needed 3rd and 7 and the ball was a full 6 feet above the receiver's head.
No, but Marlon, they have how many new guys on defense in San Francisco? 4 or 5? Like half your defense turns over?
Yeah.
And you can't do anything offense. You get 3 points on offense.
Well, that was one of the worst performances I've seen by a quarterback ever.
They have. Did they not have Minnesota at like 7.5 or 8.5 wins this year?
Yeah, which
on the over/under. That's not happening. That's not fucking happening.
It's week 1.
They couldn't stop the run.
No, though Carlos Hyde is excellent.
I know he's good, but they gave up 168 yards on the ground to him. That's not good for a team that's supposed to win 9 games or more.
Yeah.
Against a team that was supposed to struggle to win fucking football games, they fucking manhandled Minnesota. I'm not going to say they're a 4-win team, but I can't see them getting to 9. Now?
No, they do get Chicago and Detroit a couple of times each. That's not going to hurt.
Okay, Matt Forte in Chicago? Good luck.
All right, we got to wrap this, Boyd.
No, we don't. Let's go for 2 hours. Come on. Let's go. I could make these fuckers pay. What? Give them some pain. We have to suffer through shitty football games.
Oh, that one
all in the name of the podcast. Oh, shit. All right. If you want to listen to our podcast, you can check it out on iTunes or Stitcher for your Android device, on our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines for any updates to our blog posts or when a new podcast is available. Our personal Twitter accounts at OLinesMarlon or at OLinesBoyd. Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to send us an email, it's offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon. And that was the Week 1 recap.
Marcus Mariota.
Generous fucking gambler.